everybody. Welcome back to the HeelCast. I'm AEW Dude, and this week I am channeling my inner hurls by rolling solo, so if it gets a little bit sticky, you'll understand why. As always, we ask that you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our great podcasts. And if you haven't heard the great news, we're now available on both ImpactAsylum.net and our newest partner, WrestlingWithWrestling.com. So head over to those great sites and check out all the great content that they're producing. Also, don't forget to support the HeelCast's own Mike Larkin, who runs not only the S&M podcast, but also the official podcast of the Lingerie Fighting Championships. Yes, I'm jealous. Folks, Larkin's the man. He's absolute fire. Speaking of fire, AEW has been on fire this week. Dynamite was nothing short of just that. Pure dynamite. If they could just fix their women's division, they're capable of producing pay-per-view quality shows each and every week. And that's something we haven't seen in 20 years since that other explosive show, WCW Monday Nitro. Speaking of Monday nights, Cody went on record as saying he'd like to compete there at some point. Things that make you go, Speaking of WCW and things that make you go, Raven. Yeah, that Raven, not the HeelCast's cheap knockoff version, was spotted in the crowd this week as Evil Uno warned that the Exalted One was near. And that was followed up by Matt Hardy tweeting a picture of himself watching the segment. Speaking of Matt Hardy, Impact is also jumping on the Matt Hardy bandwagon, teasing that he could be ICU. And frankly, he may be the perfect fit for Impact anyway. After all, he's unkillable, and Impact is hard to kill, right? Now, while it seems far more likely ICU is actually Sami Callihan, count me among those that consider this tease good business. And if we're on the topic of good business, Hurls is bouncing off the walls with excitement at the news that Chris Bay has signed with Impact Wrestling. While I don't see this as a major signing, Hurls is convinced he'll do good business in the X Division. But now, of course, with good business comes bad business. Look, folks, both Impact and NWA could really use each other's support right now. Both are small and need to work hard for every potential viewer. So Billy Corgan, why on earth would you schedule the Crockett Cup on the same day as Rebellion? And when you consider how Billy's on record as saying he'll do business with anyone but Impact, it really does start to feel petty. Ed Nordholm, brother, wipe that grin off your face right now, because you know you only brought back Gutcheck because the NWA debuted the Circle Squared. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with those concepts, both are designed to give up-and-coming wrestlers a chance to win contracts with the promotion. And those of you who are familiar with the concept know Impact did this in the past, and it wasn't very interesting back then, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be any more interesting now. So, folks, what are you fighting over? Now, I'll tell you what is interesting, though. AEW got an action figure deal. That's awesome news for AEW, and even better news for the talent that are working their butts off to get their action figures. Next up, a video game. I'm betting you see one this fall. Now, I'll tell you what I'm not betting on, the XFL. It's insane to try to compete with the mammoth known as the National Football League. Admittedly, it looked a lot more plausible a couple of years ago when the NFL was constantly shooting itself in the foot by taking positions on social issues and then, flip-flopping every time the wind changed directions. But they've survived the ordeal, and the second week of the XFL did see a steep ratings drop. That having been said, there is a silver lining for fans. The last time Vince started the XFL, the second week's ratings drop was actually worse. Now, while we're on the topic of Vince McMahon ratings, it's noteworthy that they brought back Hulk Hogan to SmackDown again, and they've deployed Goldberg over to Raw. I find it quite ironic that Vince McMahon killed Nitro 20 years ago, only to rely on its stars while fighting against an upstart that's, well, trying to be the new Nitro. It speaks volumes for WCW Nitro, the current wrestling fan base, and frankly, the last 20 years of wrestling history. Don't you agree? Folks, on that note, I'm out. On behalf of the entire HeelCast, ImpactAsylum.net, and WrestlingWithWrestling.com, I'm AEW Dude saying have a great week and we'll see you next time.